The song you hear in the background is Be All Right by Evan Kraft and Danny Goki. I think sometimes we forget that Christ died for us. This picture says, my child, you are worth it, as Christ is on the cross for us. He has everyone in his hands. We trust that perfect God who created us. We trust him with our lives. But sometimes I think that we trust the world to define our worth. We know that Christ saved us, but how often do we look at why? God felt like each one of us is worth saving. There are so many things in this world that we define our worth by. We define our value by how much money we have in the bank, by how many friends we have, by what people say about us, by the house we live in, by whether or not our children are being good today. We define whether we have value according to that little voice inside. You know, that really harsh critic, that voice that is ours. And God says, my child, you are worth it. We are created in God's image. And God has a lot of really good attributes. We have a lot of really good attributes. We are worth it. There are some scriptures that I am going to read that I really think helps us remember that we are worth it. From Romans 5:8. But God shows his love for us in that we were still sinners and Christ died for us. And 1 John 4, verse 18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not been perfected in love. And 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 13. There's a lot there, but let me just read a little bit of it for you. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clangy cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but not have love, I have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. And it goes on, right? We know that passage from 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 13. We are worth it. God loves us unconditionally. And then I think that we also can pass on that love for God. I think that as you hear or maybe you don't hear it, there's this loud truck going by. And sometimes I have this quick reaction to wanting to pause the video or shut off the recording or start over because the world is going by. But the world goes by. What do I think? That if you hear something in the background, it means that you're not going to think that the video is good enough to watch. See, that's that internal voice again saying there will be something that you find that is not worthy of your time. Something that I'm saying. We have that thing that happens in us that says we're not worthy, and yet we are. My child, Christ died for you. As his child, as God's child, Christ died for me. We are blessed to be called his children, and he died for each one of us. I'm going to play a little bit more about from Be All Right from Evan Kraft and Danny Goki. And I want the words to sink in, because no matter what you're going through, Christ died for you because you're worth it. Don't let this world define who you are. Let God define who you are. Have a blessed week.
There's a name that can solve every fear. There's a love that breaks the heartache, the pain, and the tear. Through my faith and my doubting, I know one thing for sure. His word isn't failing, his promise secure. So once again, everything will be alright. Whole world's in his hands. Your whole world's in his hands. In the darkness, in the trial.